Hey guys, Kingpin Light here. We got VannDa Wooden Box, the last song off the Skull album, I believe. I think I've covered them all up to this point, and so I'll be doing those two videos after this one. The ranking of every song, and then a final just overall thought on the album. Those will take a little bit longer to make. I kind of want to make it a little bit nicer than just the turning on the camera and recording. Um, But other than that, let's just jump right in. I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm gonna be streaming, I think maybe Wednesdays and maybe Fridays and Saturdays. I haven't really thought of the days yet, but if you can hop on those, I'll try and get a schedule going so we know what's going on. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in.
Had a way you would name and I drew so sit the bank be more day. Don't ring you would need to.
Hold on, I want to get a little bit of that feeling first. Pay attention to like the instruments.
Had a way you would name and I drew so sit the bank be more day. Don't ring you would need to ching land. Box right JB pop look name and now chim sron no tonight morning tonight need with the tonight. Psych me that listen by bedroom action bad. Strike but
All right, I'm definitely liking the instruments already, the instrumentation. You know what? I think this sound already encapsulates that image. I think out of all the songs he's got in the album, but I'm also judging the song as an ender, as an outro to the album. So I'm trying to like piece together if he has like a final message to say, I guess. And then Wooden Box. I'm assuming that's referring to a casket, like his death, maybe metaphorical or something like that. Um, and then he's got a much more mellow uh, vocals in this, but I kind of like it. It's not just quiet, it's like gritty a little bit.
you would need to ching land. Box right JB pop look name and now chim sron no tonight morning tonight need with the tonight. Psych me that listen by bedroom action bad. Strike but connect for man dang come prakaich chat to chim chi command from some nine. Like brang
Ooh, before I even talk on that, I like that staccato that he did toward the end of whatever that's transitioning into, whether it's a bridge or something, but the little staccato he did on his flow.
Like me that listen by bedroom action bad. Strike but connect for man dang come
I
prakaich
like
chat
that.
to chim chi command from some nine. Like brang hay tơ mìnhរួចសំដីដែលយើងនិយាយគឺចាត់ទុកដោយសំឡេងហួចទឹកមាត់សាបហួហាមាត់ក៏ចាប់ក្បួចកៅភ្នែកសម្លឹងមកយើងធ្វើដោយឯងជាចោលលួចជាទេសកលកម្មករខ្ញុំកំដរ
I'm really liking this flow here. And the beat, of course. But I think the beat does what it needs to without standing in the way. Where his vocals here, again, are more toned down, and he's done that on a couple of songs, but it's toned down isn't the right word for it. It's just lower octave almost, like he's singing with a deeper voice, quieter. But he's doing little inflections in the actual vocals.
រួចសំដីដែលយើងនិយាយគឺចាត់ទុកដោយសំឡេងហួចទឹកមាត់សាបហួហាមាត់ក៏ចាប់ក្បួចកៅភ្នែកសម្លឹងមកយើងធ្វើដោយឯងជាចោលលួចជាទេសកលកម្មករខ្ញុំកំដរយើងធ្វើល្អគេមើលមិនឃើញនៅតែបន្តស្មោះសរជាចលករនៅតែបន្តហាណាដែលជិះជាប់នៅតែមិនពាន់ក្តោ
Ooh, I like that
ជា
little
ចល
part.
ករនៅតែបន្តហាណាដែលជិះជាប់នៅតែមិនពាន់ក្តោ
Yeah, that like whisper, but also bringing in more power behind it. It's kind of a cool combination. I don't know if there's a term for that, but whenever like an artist does it, I always do like that. It's like because normally you think of whispering as being lighter, right? Like the overall push of it is lighter, but that felt like it was a mixture of a heavier impact with just whispering. So I kind of liked how that sounded.
ជាចលករនៅតែបន្តហាណាដែលជិះជាប់នៅតែមិនពាន់ក្តោគិតច្រើនណាស់មិនដឹងថាគិតអីទេពិភពលោកធំណាស់តែដូចគ្មានកន្លែងទំនេរជីវិតពិតលំបាកវាមិនស្រួលដូចគិតទេរស់ត្រូវតែឆ្លាតបើមិនលឿននៅក្រោយគេ
I like that lyric right there.
ពិតលំបាកវាមិន
And I haven't spoken on the lyrics too much so far. I mean, it's only been a minute, but I mean, he's taking like a bit of a more of a downer approach of looking at life on this one. It's not as hopeful sounding. But I did like that line right after this one.
ស្រួលដូចគិតទេរស់ត្រូវតែឆ្លាត
You gotta live smart. If you aren't fast enough, life will leave you behind. I mean, just the way it's worded, it's nice. very compact for the meaning. Uh, I just like it. I think it sounds pretty dope.
បើមិនលឿននៅក្រោយគេមើលខ្លួនឯងសុទ្ធតែស្បែកនឹងឆ្អឹងភ្លេចមិនញប់តែខំសម្លឹងមានតូចចិត្តធំទៅតែប្រឹងស៊ូស្លាប់នឹងការងារមិនឲ្យស្លាប់លើងរឹងជីវិតគឺអញ្ចឹងបែបហ្នឹងពេលដែលគេប្រើសុំកំខឹងមកពីយើងភ្លើមិនទាន់ឆ្លាតស្លៀកពាក់មិនទាន់
I'm trying to pay attention to the lyrics, but I keep getting pulled back into the vocals. I'm just really digging the vocals and how they're playing with the actual beat. But yeah, like I said, he's taking a more downer isn't the right word, I think, and seeing that word, this is real life, I think puts it in perspective. He's being more realist than optimistic, which I mean, it's up to everyone's interpretation, but I like taking a realist approach on a lot of things. Definitely always have hopes and dreams and all of that, right? But to get there, you have to take concrete steps, right? And you have to be aware of what, like some of the stuff he's saying, right? You got to be aware of people taking advantage of you, or just real things that happen that no amount of hope is gonna get rid of them. You just got to work around them.
ពេលដែលគេប្រើសុំកំខឹងមកពីយើងភ្លើមិនទាន់ឆ្លាតស្លៀកពាក់មិនទាន់ស្អាតបាតហេតុអ្វីមិនខំប្រឹងសង្វាក់ខំដែរតែគេជាប់ខួរក្បាលគេពំពុះរូបភាពគេបំផុត
Okay, so he did.
ស្មើភាពតែរកបាន10000វាប្រាប់យើងថា1000
Okay, so he is bringing it back. It is a little bit of a hopeful thing. He's being realistic in telling you the bad things in life, but he is saying there is a way to approach and there is a way to get around it. Don't worry too much about how much money you have now. You'll get it. You know, just keep working hard. You'll get to where you need to be. And then a little bit of a capitalist, I think, dig here, right? The top guys get 10,000 while the bottom guys get 1,000. And that's just the way it works. It sucks. But one day you'll be at the top getting that 10K when somebody else gets the 1K. That doesn't mean you have to be a dick, right? Hopefully when you get to that point, you can split it, 8 and 3 or something like that, just depending on the work output. But it's definitely something that happens in real life. It's very capital. I don't want to say just capitalist because I'm a capitalist at heart. But I think it's just a human greed thing, right? Like even in socialist environments, right? We had dictators and everything, and I'm sure they were taking a lot more than 10K for every 1K. So
លុយសប្រជាលុយខ្មៅមិត្តភាពប្រជាអ្នកក្រៅដង្កើខ្លាចទៅជាមេអំបៅយើងនៅតែក្រតែវាប្រែជារំខៅអស់ទាំងមិត្តភាពអស់ទាំងស្នេហាបាត់បង់អស់គ្រប់យ៉ាងសល់តែគ្រួសារមិនហ៊ានលើកដៃមិនទេវតាបណ្ដោយតាមកម្មតែមិនបណ្ដែតតាមវាសនាគ្មានអ្នកណាសរសើរអ្នកឯងទេអ្នកឯងបោះមេ
all right, so he's switching to a little singing right there. I want to catch it. So lyric wise, again, he's just keep going on with it. It almost sounds like the message he's trying to say here too is just or at least partially, and I think maybe it's because of the last song Mama that I heard, but it's definitely a very family oriented thing, right? Like they're always going to be by your side.
You will never be okay បើមិនគិតពីខ្លួនឯងគិតតែផ្ដោតនៅលើគេ Twin top នឹងជីវិតចង់មិនចប់ឆ្លោះមើលកញ្ចក់ឃើញខ្លួនឯងគួរឲ្យស្អប់បីសាច់នៅក្នុងខួរលងរាល់ថ្ងៃឡើងចង់ឡប់មានតែរាងកាយបាត់វិញ្ញាណដោយសាកសពអ្នកណាគេទៅខ្វល់ពីមនុស្សកាក់សំណល់ដុតកំ
That's a dark line, huh? No one cares about trash like me. But yeah, again, I think he's continuing with that message where don't worry too much about the rest of the world, right? They're always going to judge and hate you. Just keep working hard, grinding up. And I think that's kind of what his life message and what a lot of what he said in this album has been about is that hard work and that grind. Like it's not pretty when you're down in the weeds, right? You just got to keep with it.
មើលកញ្ចក់ឃើញខ្លួនឯងគួរឲ្យស្អប់បីសាច់នៅក្នុងខួរលងរាល់ថ្ងៃឡើងចង់ឡប់មានតែរាងកាយបាត់វិញ្ញាណដោយសាកសពអ្នកណាគេទៅខ្វល់ពីមនុស្សកាក់សំណល់ដុតកំតិចចោលការចងចាំមិនសល់ចេញទៅវាឆ្ងាយកន្លែងគ្មានអ្នកទៅដល់បាត់ខ្ញុំពីផែនដីមិនបាច់ឆ្ងល់មិនបាច់ឆ្ងល់
ស្លាប់អ្នកណាកំដរស្លាប់អ្នកណាកំដរស្លាប់
Who's that? I really like that singing. And I don't see it featured, at least not in the song name. So if you guys can let me know who's singing.
អ្នកណាកំដរស្លាប់អ្នកណាកំដរស្លាប់អ្នកណាកំដរស្លាប់អ្នកណាកំដ
I think it's a really good atmospheric contrast to the lower tones that he was taking on this, where she's hitting these high notes right in the middle, and I'm assuming he's gonna jump back in with another verse. And you can hear that emotion right in there. I like this. And again, keeping that same whisper flow that I'm really liking, and then letting some of that emotion shine, especially after that break. And I don't mean monotony in like boring, but monotony as in he kept the same sort of tone throughout with a little bit of shifts in his vocals. But then breaking that up with that singing and then coming back in a little more emotional, I think overall creates a better aesthetic. That drop was really nice. I gotta hear it one more time. I've seen him use those specific terms a lot. Karmic debt. And even there he said he referenced Buddhism. Is that a core belief of Cambodian culture, or I guess just overall, like out there? Is it karmic debt? Because and I'm curious if that's different than just karma, because you know, we speak a lot about karma in the States as well. But we don't particularly use the term karmic debt, which I kind of like the term. It's kind of interesting. But I'm curious whether it ties into a specific philosophy or theology, or if it's just a standard phrase that he's using. Still got a bit to go, so I'll take a pause for a sec. So I like the progression of the lyrics, and I need to re-listen to it and maybe have the lyrics in front of me to be able to decipher whether I'm reading too much into it or if this is the way it was supposed to be. But it definitely, that first verse is very, and like I said, realist, but it's definitely a bit of a downer, right? Like the way he was saying everything, all of these bad things, people are going to do this and that. Then there was that more of emotional singing break in the middle. And then the second one, it sounds more like sorrowful in the beginning. Then that beat drop came in, and then he started being a little more optimistic, like still keeping the realist thing, saying people are gonna judge, but it's, hey, don't give a shit about that, right? Like just keep moving, don't be ashamed. So it sounds like sort of like as a closer song, as an outro song to the album. I think it's almost summarizing all of the bad things that can happen and stuff that he's mentioned in the album. And hopefully, if I'm right, he'll continue this trend of kind of having a hopeful end, like the light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing. Oh shit! I did not plan for that. He literally went right into it. Okay, so light at the end of the tunnel. My theory is correct. Yeah, like I said, I just like that progression of lyrics. Because, like I said, definitely followed a theme. And I was hoping he would end it this way, so that it wouldn't be like a depressing ending to an album. That almost sounds like an accordion in the background. It's kind of interesting.
Don't make mama cry, mama cry. Don't make mama cry. Don't make mama cry.
I like that.
Don't make mama cry.
Finish it off with the piano. I'll let it ride out. I always got to catch it right at the end though, because it starts auto playing the next video. But yeah, this makes me curious though, because now I think once I do the overall album reaction, I'm gonna have an actual um, plot line isn't right, but an actual progression through it that I can actually comment on. Because it's been sort of my theory the whole time that there's a connected story in all the songs. Not loosely connected. I mean like an actual plot that's happening throughout it. And because I've reacted to these so far apart, it's hard for me to keep every song fresh in my mind. So listening to all of it a couple of times on my own and then combining what I get out of it, I think will be a little bit a different look than what I've been doing song by song. But I think because of this song, that my theory that it is sort of a cohesive plot makes sense because it ends on a thematically good note, I guess, right? Like I said, light at the end of the tunnel is what it feels like. And that right in the middle there were all those heartbreak songs. The song right before this was Mama, which was almost reminiscing about his life, um, wanting to reconnect with family and that sort of thing. And I think maybe it's his come up. This is my guess, and again, I have to listen to it again. But my guess would be that it sort of follows a progression of coming up from nothing, working really hard, getting up there, partying for a little while, feeling the effects of, hey, maybe this isn't the greatest just because I'm up here. A little bit of bad things happen, like the breakup, reminiscing, and then finally, hey, we're gonna be all right. So that's my guess as to what the whole album was really about. And I'm curious what Skull 2 or whatever he decides to name his second album, but I think it is Skull 2, will be about. Because I could see him taking it a couple of different approaches, right? Having a similar message, or maybe more upbeat. Maybe he's in a better place mentally and in his career and everything, so it's more of an upbeat, like, hey, everything turned out all right, that sort of thing. So I'm curious to see when that comes out. Um, and yeah, so this is the last song off the album. Got through all of it. It took forever because of my slow videos, but finally got through it all. And yeah, definitely really liked it. As you guys can probably tell from my videos, I'm pretty sure most of them for the last 3 to 6 months have been VannDa. And I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna be doing different artists, both from Cambodia and just other places in the world. But I think, especially as soon as Skull 2 comes back, I'm still gonna keep VannDa pretty consistent in my reactions, and hopefully just get a lot more reactions overall out. But yeah, if you guys like this, if you guys could subscribe and like and comment, definitely comment. I always read them. I've been getting better at about replying to all of them. It's kind of like texts. When I get texts, sometimes I'll read them, think up a reply in my head, and then just forget to actually send it. So I do read all the comments though, so I really appreciate your guys' support. It's been fun, doing this as a hobby, so I definitely look forward to doing more of it, and I will catch you guys on the next one.